All that manifests within creation and undergoes true growth arises from Hu, the sacred tone by which the Creator calls existence into being. In ancient teachings, Hu was joined with Hika, creative magic, and Sia, divine perception, forming the original triad of Ptah, embodying word, will, and wisdom. He represents one of the eternal creative forces of will, constantly accompanying Re, Ra, the sun guardian angelic host. Re is the source and sustainer of life, the eternal provider of nourishment in this world. In Sumerian traditions, these forces were paralleled in the three sacred sons, Shamash, Ufsu, and Utu. Hu, Hei, and Uwa are their etheric counterparts, connected with the netherworld. Though once manifest in this realm, they now guide humanity from beyond, influencing both the involuntary and voluntary functions of the human body. The attribute of Hu has a counterpart known as Al-Halimu, the clement. This principle represents compassion, tolerance, patience, gentleness, forgiveness, calmness, and inner peace. Those angelic hosts aligned with this energy are never moved to rage by human disobedience, for they act with knowledge of the universal law of Ma'at. This law ensures that all will one day stand in the symbolic hall of judgment, answering for their deeds before the guardian angelic hosts. In earthly terms, this is mirrored by the funeral rites where family and community testify to the life one lived and how one will be remembered. This attribute can also be invoked in practical, protective ways. If written on a piece of paper and placed where seeds are planted, it ensures that no harm comes to the crops or garden. Written on paper, soaked in water, and then sprinkled on personal belongings, it serves as a blessing of protection against misfortune or calamity. The elemental expression associated with Hu is germanium, a trace mineral and micronutrient with long recognized healing properties. Found naturally in garlic, ginseng, and certain microalgae, it has been valued for thousands of years for its health benefits. In modern science, germanium was the first element used in transistors, notable for its ability to conduct electricity in one direction while blocking it in the other, an inherent safeguard against power surges. Ancient accounts describe that when the microcosmic personification of Hu manifested on Earth, this element was used in works involving the separation of energy and matter through processes akin to modern electrolysis, the use of electric current to drive transformations that otherwise would not occur spontaneously. Thus, Hu not only symbolizes the sacred utterance of creation but also embodies the forces of compassion, protection, and the hidden sciences that sustain life both spiritually and materially. Electrolysis has long been of great importance in the separation of elements from natural sources, particularly ores, through the use of electrolytic cells. This process allowed humanity to uncover and refine materials vital to both ancient and modern sciences. One such element continues to hold relevance today, being used in camera lenses and infrared devices due to its ability to transmit these rays with remarkable precision. In spiritual practice, it is taught that reciting Yahu 16 times during moments of despair or hardship restores the will to persevere, granting the strength to rise and succeed against all odds. For this, we give thanks, Yahu. We honor the works you have brought forth within our very bodies, sustaining us through the principle of will. The guardian angelic host Mut has long been revered within the sacred teachings. She was acknowledged as the consort of the angelic host Amun and is recognized as the guardian of the atmosphere, sky, and heavenly firmaments. In later times, the Greeks associated her with Hera, wife of Zeus. In Tamare, ancient Africa, Mut was deeply respected, and her archdiocese chose as her sacred emblem the image of a mother vulture. This symbolism was not chosen lightly, for the word vulture shares its root with vulva, the gateway of life, the opening to the womb. Thus, Mut embodies the sacred feminine, the eternal mother. She was also linked with Bast and Sekhmet, and could appear in the form of a cat or a lion. In southern Tamare, even to this day, the word for vulture carries a meaning tied to love and bonding, as these birds, like pigeons, are most often seen in devoted pairs. This reflects the sacred bond of mother and child, a relationship rooted in protection, care, and unbreakable closeness. The vulture's vast wingspan symbolizes an all-encompassing shield, a celestial canopy that shelters and protects her young. Just as the vulture fiercely defends her offspring, so too do mothers among humanity embody the same strength when it comes to nurturing and safeguarding their children. Because of these sacred attributes, we honor Mut as one of the 99 angelic guides, representing the eternal qualities of motherhood, protection, nurturing, and unconditional love. The sacred records of Autumn Ray teach, you must begin to look through the eye of the boz, the falcon, and consume the mentally dead as the near, the vulture, to bring them back to true life. The vulture, known for its voracious nature, roams the desert consuming what has decayed. It gathers in anticipation of death, not as a harbinger of despair, but as a cleanser of corruption, a force that transforms death into the renewal of life. Within humanity, the principle of Mut represents this same drive, the power to destroy ignorance and awaken true life within the mind and soul. Those who are under the spell of sleep, promoted by the enemy often called the devil, can be awakened through guidance and protection. If you are a teacher, or someone who shares sacred knowledge, reciting Ya Mut 29 times before beginning your work will help you encounter students or seekers ready to learn. Like a mother vulture spreading her wings to shield and protect her young, you will provide mental nourishment in a way that benefits others on the mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical levels. The attribute of the guardian angelic host Mut, known as Al-Haadi, the Supreme, represents the utmost in all things. Humanity's language and descriptive words fall short in capturing the essence of the Most High Heavenly Father, for a ray exceeds any mortal expression. The very breath of life comes from this source and sustains all beings. No word or concept can equal the Supreme, for it was the Most High who planted the very thoughts by which we attempt to understand Him. By reciting Al-Haadi, the Supreme one is blessed with honor, dignity, and a deeper alignment with this supreme energy. The element associated with the guardian angelic host Mut is arsenic, derived from the Greek arsenikon, a yellow orpiment mineral, and arsenikos, meaning male. Its origins trace back to Ar and Seni/Sina, the brother of the female sun god Arena, Sol, reflecting the Tama-Rayan understanding of Mut and her angelic consort Amun, a solar angelic force. Arsenic teaches an important lesson to humanity. It is toxic in certain forms, such as the skins of potatoes. Notably, Nubian Melaninite members of humanity have a lower tolerance for potato starch, about 25%, while Caucasian Anglos can tolerate up to 75%. This difference explains why excessive consumption of potatoes can be more harmful to Nubian Melaninites, as the body works to remove arsenic by producing excess mucus and phlegm. Arsenic is also found in oysters, mussels, and prawns, and is excreted in small doses through urine. Beyond its biological effects, it stimulates metabolism and supports the formation of red blood cells. In modern technology, arsine gas is used as a dopant in microchips, determining the degree of semiconductivity. Through all of this, the guiding principle of Mut remains clear. As a motherly protector, she nurtures and guides, ensuring that humanity receives both spiritual and practical sustenance in daily life. By invoking her name and aligning with her attributes, one draws strength, protection, and wisdom in all endeavors. When the microcosmic manifestation of the female guardian angelic host Mayert, O might or fullness, is understood as a principle within humanity, it represents strength, power, and celestial guidance. Mayert personifies the part of the sky where the sun rises and the path it follows through the day. She is often depicted as a cow, with the two barks of the sun seen sailing along her body, symbolizing her guardianship of the sun's daily course. In the pyramid texts, Mayert is also associated with judgment. The deceased were judged in the Hall of Double Ma'at in her presence, alongside Tahuti and other angelic beings, within her celestial abode. This aligns her with the angelic mother principle of Hathor, emphasizing protection, guidance, and divine oversight. The attribute principle of Mihert, known as Al-Ghafuru, the forgiving, reflects nobility, generosity, and compassion. The Most High is a benevolent creator, loving those who can forgive. Consistent forgiveness demonstrates a pure mind and spirit. Those who align with this attribute are blessed with unselfishness, relief from sorrow and illness, prosperity, and protection for their children. Reciting Al-Ghafuru regularly brings these benefits, and writing this name on 3 pieces of paper and placing them under the plate of a sick person for 3 consecutive days is said to aid recovery. The elemental counterpart of Mayert is selenium, a vital element linked with the moon. Selenium promotes hormone production in the thyroid gland and is abundant in hair, kidneys, and testicles. Men require more selenium than women, as it is stored in the testicles for procreation. Excess selenium is stored in the bones for later use. Deficiency in selenium can lead to anemia, high blood pressure, infertility, cancer, arthritis, premature aging, muscular dystrophy, and multiple sclerosis. It is found naturally in breakfast cereals, whole wheat bread, Brazil nuts, molasses, fish, tuna, cod, salmon, wheat germ, bran, and brewer's yeast. In recent times, selenium deficiency in diets has contributed to declining sperm counts in men and lowered immunity in populations, such as in parts of China, making viral outbreaks like SARS more severe. Selenium's presence is essential for sustaining health and vitality, highlighting the enduring wisdom of the ancients. We give thanks to Ya Mayert for the protection, guidance, and nurturing she provides to humanity, helping us grow stronger, healthier, and more spiritually aligned. The guardian angelic host Khafuri symbolizes humanity's ability to rise, physically, mentally, and spiritually. This includes standing from sitting, kneeling, or lying down, awakening from sleep, and reaching higher positions or levels of awareness. It also represents advancing to maturity, attaining greater understanding, or approaching a significant stage in life. The sacred records of Autumn Ray note that the story of Khafuri, whose name means appearing like Ra, inspired the scarab beetle symbolism. Just as the scarab rolls a ball of mud, representing the germ of life, into the form of an egg and moves it across the sky like the sun, Khafuri embodies the principles of creation, renewal, and the return of goodness. Those who act with patience and integrity are rewarded openly and secretly, and those who ask for forgiveness are readily forgiven by the Most High. Reciting the attribute Al-Shakaru, which microcosmically manifests through Khafuri, 41 times during times of financial, health, or emotional stress brings relief and deliverance. For emotional burdens, breathing into a glass of water while reciting this name 41 times, then washing the face with that water, can lighten the heart. The Most High and his angelic hosts express gratitude not as humans do but by acknowledging and commending the good deeds of their servants. The element associated with Khafuri is bromine, known for its calming effects, particularly in slowing mental activity and moderating sexual drive. Historically, the spas of Tama-Re, ancient Africa, were renowned for their bromide-rich waters, easing tense muscles and minds. On Earth today, the Dead Sea produces elevated levels of bromide, which plants absorb and process. Bromide has also been used to produce the luxurious Tyrian purple dye, cherished since ancient times, referenced in Ezekiel 27:7 and 16 as a symbol of mystical wealth. This aligns with the sacred city of Res Manjet, representing divine abundance and refinement. The guardian angelic host Meskenet personifies the principle of childbirth, both in the physical world and in the etheric realm where the energies governing DNA and RNA operate. This female angelic principle ensures the continuity of life, guiding conception, birth, and the metaphysical rebirth of the soul. Her presence underscores the sacredness of life, the nurturing of new generations, and the spiritual laws that regulate creation at every level. Meskenet was often depicted as two bricks, reflecting the traditional birthing posture of women in Tama-Re, ancient Africa, who crouched while giving birth and leaned on two bricks for support. In some depictions, these two bricks terminate in a human head wearing a cow's uterus, symbolizing the sacred act of creation. This female guardian angelic host is also associated with fate, appearing symbolically at the time of a person's death to testify on behalf of the deceased. These two bricks later appear in Freemasonry as the uncut stone and the perfect stone, symbolizing mortal man and the perfected man. The principle here represents the union of two stones, mother and father, to birth a new being, whose character is shaped by the combination of both parents. The attribute influenced by Meskenet, known as Al-Aliyu, the exalted, teaches humanity humility. It reminds us that we cannot reach the height of the Most High on our own and must look upward toward the guardian angelic hosts, who work on behalf of the Most High Heavenly Father from whom all blessings flow. Reciting this attribute frequently strengthens true faith, even in a world dominated by blind belief. Those who do so may find their destiny opened, and travelers invoking it may reach their homes safely. The elemental counterpart associated with Meskenet is Krypton, derived from the Tama-Rayan word crypt, referring to a burial place beneath the original pyramids, symbolizing secrecy, obscurity, and hidden knowledge. Krypton is a harmless but rare gas in the atmosphere. While it could suffocate if it displaces oxygen, it has many practical uses: strip lighting, neon color modification, high-speed photographic flashes, strobe lights, and lasers. It produces a soft violet glow and responds rapidly to electrical currents, demonstrating the subtle yet powerful influence of this element. An element's atomic number is determined by the number of protons in its nucleus. For instance, hydrogen has 1 proton, helium 2, lithium 3, and so forth. The mass number is determined by the sum of protons and neutrons in the nucleus, reflecting the total mass of the element. Humim is an ancient term originating from the Tama-Rayan, ancient African, language. It is composed of Hu, the creative force of will, and Mim, the 24th letter of the Tama-Raic alphabet, which symbolizes the 24 elders. The letter Mim represents water, the primordial source from which this new creation, Humim, emerges. It also signifies the feminine principle, the primordial waters that give rise to all life. In early life forms, the original cell was referred to as asexual. Modern science hints at its feminine origin by calling it a daughter cell, which implies that it might more accurately be described as F-sexual, reflecting its connection to female sexuality and the generative principle of life. The 99 guardian angelic hosts are more than mere names, they are manifested names, allowing each principle to operate and manifest through you. These manifested names give rise to 99 distinct energies. Each guardian angelic host possesses a hidden or sacred name, encoded in tones that reveal their powers, accessible to their offspring through the bloodline. Each associated element contains latent energies that, when properly utilized by alchemists, can be awakened or altered to produce remarkable feats for those connected by lineage. Genome is the study of genes, a discipline with roots in Tama-Re. The term itself derives from the Tama-Rean concept of a nome, which referred to the states under the title Sabat. Tama-Rean genome studies allow us to understand the sequence of human genetic structure, revealing when genes are activated and the commands they transmit to protein molecules. The masters of old, known as the Igigi, and their descendants, the ancients, Aetherians, Neteru, recognized that the basic molecules of life store the secret of existence. They realized these molecules serve as blueprints that can be triggered to restore life, granting a form of eternal existence. With 3 billion pairs of DNA, these blueprints dictate the assembly of the 20 amino acids to create the thousands of proteins forming life on Earth. Ancient masters such as Tahuti and Khnum were deeply engaged in decoding these processes. They guided the hatching of eggs, germination of seeds, growth of fungi, and division of bacteria. The term decryption itself derives from crypt, meaning burial chamber, linking this knowledge to pyramids, mummification, and cryogenics. This wisdom was applied during the seeding of life on this planet by the 3 students of Re billions of years ago. DNA translation occurs through a process connecting physical and etheric forms. Ether, in its ultra-gaseous form, corresponds to the solids of the body, while liquid ether flows through the bloodstream and reproductive fluids. This spirit in the blood ignites life, producing a light that forms the erratic shell and houses the soul, the light messenger. This messenger carries information to both the conscious and subconscious mind. Sparks of life activate the intellect, governed by the oversoul, which is linked by etheric cords to the mental reservoir of knowledge. All messages in light form travel through these cords. The Aetherians serve as guardians of this reservoir, known as the Akasha, preserving the accumulated wisdom of existence. Each being receives light messages through their DNA and RNA, which are responsible for triggering every moment of thought and action in their existence. For life to flow harmoniously, these light messages must reach the being, rendering the inner self etheric and attuned to subtle energies. There exist light messengers, chemical carriers of these messages, encoded with a system of ma'at, order, that has allowed life to endure through trillions of years of natural selection. The guardian angelic masters embedded this system within human DNA to guide evolution, ensuring life progresses without catastrophic errors in protein synthesis. This is why miscegenation, when uncontrolled, can disrupt these intricate genetic patterns. When we speak of the genetic code and decoding, it is literal, a secret language designed by the Igigi and their children, the Neteru, Aetherians. Genetic instructions are stored in DNA and RNA, both composed of nucleic acids. Organisms are constructed from proteins and molecules, and it is RNA that decodes the DNA blueprint, allowing it to manifest in the physical body. DNA genes are first copied into RNA, which serves as a messenger. Cellular machinery reads this RNA 3 letters at a time, while transferriners deliver the appropriate amino acids to be linked together. The great master Tahuti taught his student Imhotep that at each turn of the DNA double helix lies a diamond or tetrahedron-shaped space, framed by nucleotides. These spaces act as alignment patterns, guiding amino acids to their proper positions. Even mitochondria, the energy generators within cells, have their own genetic structures, evolving independently within each species. Amino acids vary in size, shape, and electrical charge, and their arrangement is intentional, designed to minimize errors during the decoding of DNA. The brain is the organ responsible for processing these messages. As the control center of the nervous system, it interprets signals from the mental reservoir and governs thought, speech, emotion, and the coordination of the entire body. Blood is the sticky, red fluid circulating through veins and arteries. It serves as the body's transport system, distributing nutrients and oxygen, while also defending against infections and maintaining the organism's vitality. The average human body contains about 10 pints of blood, which circulates at a rate of roughly 10 pints per minute at rest and up to 40 pints per minute during physical activity. Approximately half of this blood is made up of cells, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. The remaining half is plasma, a fluid composed of dissolved proteins, sugars, fats, and minerals. The primary function of red blood cells is to transport oxygen from the lungs to the tissues throughout the body and carry carbon dioxide back to the lungs for exhalation. Each red blood cell contains hemoglobin, a pigment and protein that binds oxygen. All blood cells are generated in the bone marrow from a single type of stem cell, which is why stem cell research is so important in modern science for combating aging and disease. The formation of red blood cells typically takes about 5 days and requires a steady supply of nutrients, iron, amino acids, folic acid, and vitamins like Biz, known as the melanin purifier. A hormone called erythropoietin, produced by the kidneys, regulates the production speed of red blood cells. When red blood cells are first released into the bloodstream, they are called reticulocytes. Within 2 to 4 days, they mature into the familiar donut-shaped cells, a shape that maximizes their surface area for oxygen exchange and allows them to squeeze through narrow blood vessels. Each red blood cell contains iron-rich hemoglobin, found in all animals, from insects to mammals. Hemoglobin binds oxygen in the lungs when oxygen levels are high and releases it in the tissues when oxygen is low. When combined with oxygen, hemoglobin forms oxyhemoglobin, giving oxygenated blood its bright red color, while deoxygenated blood appears darker. Red blood cells typically circulate for about 120 days, reflecting the 120-year lifespan assigned to humanity by Human and Human. This lifespan also determines the viability of donated blood. After 3 to 4 weeks, stored blood is largely composed of dead cells and must be discarded. As red blood cells age, their structure deteriorates, elasticity decreases, and they may become trapped in small blood vessels in the spleen and other organs, where they are destroyed by macrophages, a type of white blood cell. The primary role of white blood cells is to defend the body against infections caused by viruses, bacteria, fungi, parasites, and other harmful agents. They are essential protectors, maintaining the body's immune defenses and ensuring overall health. Red blood cells make up about 40% of the blood, while white blood cells and platelets together account for less than 5%. White blood cells are larger than red blood cells but exist in smaller quantities. They also spend a much shorter time circulating in the bloodstream compared to red blood cells. There are 3 main types of white blood cells. Granulocytes. These cells contain granules and have uniquely shaped nuclei visible under a microscope. There are 3 types of granulocytes: neutrophils, basophils, and eosinophils. Neutrophils are the most important, making up approximately 60% of all white blood cells. They act as phagocytes, engulfing and destroying invading bacteria. Neutrophils remain in the bloodstream for only 6 to 9 hours before moving into tissues, where they survive for a few additional days. Eosinophils, on the other hand, are involved in allergic reactions and increase in number during certain parasitic infections. Monocytes, these are another type of phagocyte. They circulate in the bloodstream for about 6 to 9 days and play a critical role in the body's immune system by engulfing pathogens and aiding immune responses. Lymphocytes. Many lymphocytes are produced in the lymph glands rather than the bone marrow. They travel throughout the body via the bloodstream, lymph nodes, and connecting channels. T-type lymphocytes are responsible for delayed allergic responses and produce substances that regulate the activity of other cells. B-type lymphocytes form antibodies, which protect the body from repeated infections by diseases such as measles or chickenpox. Lymphocytes can survive anywhere from 3 months to 10 years. Platelets, the smallest type of blood cells, are responsible for stopping bleeding and repairing damaged blood vessels. They clump together to block small holes, releasing chemicals that initiate blood clotting. Although they are produced in the bone marrow like other blood cells, platelets are more numerous than white blood cells but less numerous than red blood cells. They circulate in an inactive state but become activated under certain conditions, such as when they come into contact with damaged blood vessels, artificial surfaces, or specific chemicals in the blood. When activated, platelets change shape from discs to spheres, interact with each other, and release chemicals that activate additional platelets. This starts the process of coagulation, which thickens the blood and causes blood vessels to contract. Most coagulation factors are produced in the liver, which requires an adequate supply of vitamin K, found in green vegetables, to function properly. Abnormalities or deficiencies in platelets can lead to blood disorders, such as hemophilia. Plasma is a straw-colored fluid that makes up the majority of blood. It is composed mostly of water, about 95%, and contains salts in concentrations similar to seawater. Plasma also carries a variety of dissolved substances that can change over time, including nutrients, waste products, proteins, and hormones. Nutrients are substances that are absorbed from the intestinal tract or released from storage organs, such as the liver, and are transported to the tissues. They include sugars, fats, amino acids, which are used by cells to make proteins, vitamins, and minerals. Proteins in the blood serve many important functions. For example, fibrinogen plays a key role in coagulation and clotting, while other proteins inhibit clot formation to maintain balance. Plasma proteins also include immunoglobulins and complement proteins, which fight bacteria as part of the immune system. Another major plasma protein, albumin, helps maintain blood volume by retaining water in the circulatory system. The large size of protein molecules prevents them from escaping into the tissues, thus helping regulate the body's fluid balance. Blood groups classify blood based on the presence of specific antigens on the surface of red blood cells, which can trigger immune responses. The main blood groups are A, B, AB, and O, with O being the most common, followed by A, B, and AB. Another classification system is the rhesus, RH, factor, where 85% of people are RH positive and 15% are RH negative. Blood type and RH factor are especially important in pregnancy, as an RH negative mother carrying an RH positive baby can produce antibodies against the baby's blood. In addition to these well-known groups, more than 400 other antigens have been identified. These antigens, which appear across different populations, are believed to originate from genetic contributions from over 400 species connected to the crystal city, Nibiru or Res Monjet, that were historically integrated into human bloodlines. The original books of the Bible explain aspects of human conception and development. For example, terms like monozygotic derive from the Greek word monos, meaning single or alone, and zygote, meaning yolk, referring to a single fertilized ovum or embryonic cell mass. This process usually occurs in the case of identical twins, where it takes place after fertilization, often after the semen has implanted in the uterus. As a result, most twins share a placenta, the organ that develops in the uterus during pregnancy, though each twin has its own umbilical cord and amniotic sac. The female guardian angelic host Re-Et, also known as Ren-Fet or Yu-the-Ku, meaning great of science, embodies the creative power and wisdom that complements her husband, the guardian host Re. She represents the macrocosmic feminine counterpart to the principle of Re. The Nubian Melaninites of Tama Re understood that the universe operates through dual cycles, a universal sun, gold, cycle and a universal moon, silver, cycle. Both cycles are essential for maintaining life within the system of Ma'at, or order, as opposed to Isfet, or chaos. Every aspect of existence functions with duality, counterforces or complementary principles, including the Most High Heavenly Father, Anae Re. Re-Et, as the female guardian angelic host, was considered the lesser light to her husband's greater light, reflecting his wisdom. She is often depicted wearing a headdress where the moon, lesser light, sits within the sun, greater light, a Tama Re'an symbol representing her role. The attribute Re-Et embodies is Al-Kabiru, meaning the greatest. Humanity cannot fully comprehend this greatness, as no conceived measure in the visible universe can equal the magnitude of Nature'u Elohim, the sustaining forces that brought everything into existence through the command of Anae Re. Their power is eternal and cannot be diminished. Reciting the attribute Yah Re-Et Al-Kabiru, O creative power, the great 100 times can instill esteem in a person. For greater spiritual focus, fasting for 7 days and reciting Al-Kabiru 1000 times may help restore honor, dignity, and positions that have been lost. Humans cannot fully grasp the meaning of Al-Kabiru, for even the greatest things imaginable in the visible universe pale in comparison to the magnitude of the Most High and his angelic host. The Most High is Al-Kabiru, the sustainer of the vast universes. His essence moves through the feminine principle of Re-Et, permeating all living beings and even what humans consider non-living matter. The greatness of Nature'u Elohim is consistent, everlasting, and beyond diminution, manifesting fully in all their qualities and degrees. The element associated with the guardian angelic host Re-Et is Rubidium. This element helps stimulate the body's metabolism and influences humanity's perception of time, much as the sun and moon regulate our sense of temporal cycles. Rubidium, like potassium, is abundant in minerals and soils, which allows plants to absorb it. Foods high in rubidium include soybeans, from which tofu is derived. Rubidium is radioactive and classified as a solar element. The masters of old in Tama Re, ancient Africa, used this element to convert solar energy into electricity with a device similar to what we today call a thermoelectric motor. The method they used involved heating rubidium until it lost one electron, forming a positive ion. This ion was then passed through a magnetic field, generating an electric current that was transferred to surrounding coils, producing electricity to power ancient generators. When cooled to just above absolute zero, rubidium exhibits a unique state of matter in which all its atoms occupy the same quantum state. Yah Re-Et, we express our eternal gratitude for your guidance and for the knowledge you brought forth through this element. The guardian angelic host Kenementu is responsible for guiding the destinies of the deceased. Considered the primary guardian of the expired, Kenementu ensured that each generation maintained proper guidance for the spirits of their ancestors, eliminating the need for purgatory. This responsibility preceded the time of the original sacrificial shepherd Asaru and his son and companion Anubu. Kenementu walked the earth during the eras when the celestial angelic hosts traversed the galactical heavens, moving between earth stations such as Old Earth and Eridanus and others. This guardian angelic host was originally the protector of Hut Weret, known to many as Abitus. The mascot of his university, church, and hospital centers was depicted as a saluki, a jackal dog species, resting on a black standard with a saluki's head. The guardian angelic host is traditionally represented as a blue-black jackal-headed statue, serving as the spiritual guide and protector of sacred writings long before the celestial angelic hosts resided on earth. Guardian angelic hosts do not die. They maintain continuity through priestesses and priests linked by blood, with the wisest among them assuming the seat of the angelic master when necessary. This ensures a constant physical manifestation of the angelic guardians while their priestesses and priests remain in contact with their angelic teachers in the etheric spiritual realm.